Masechta Chullin Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph. We're starting from Lamed Zayin Amud Beis, and we're starting from 2 lines from the bottom. Ashkechino. Okay, here we go. Ashkechino Shmuel Talmid Rav. Shmuel found students of Rav. That was his opponent. Shmuel and Rav always argued. Amalahu. Shmuel said to the Rav's Talmidim, "My Rav b'msukenes." What did Rav say b'negayah to a behema that's on the verge of dying? Does it have to show simanim during the shechita or at the end of the shechita that it was alive and you shechted a live animal, or you don't? You want to know what the halacha was by Rav. If you shechted an animal that was misukenes on the verge of dying, do we consider his shechting is? When does it have to show a simon of life? That it should be kosher. That to say that you shechted a live animal. He answered back. The Talmud of Rav answered back. Goya, if the animal moves, or it made number 2. Or it wiggled its ears. That's considered of the animal moving of life. If that happened by the shechita, then the halacha is that it's a good shechita. Amalahu, so Shmuel said back. Does Rav have to tell us about if the animal wiggles its ear, it's going to be a kosher animal if he shechted while it was wiggling its ear? Because Shmuel says, I say, and in other words, this simon of wiggling its ears is such a strong simon of chayis. You don't need such a strong simon of chayis. Even less chayis, it should be good.
A sick behemoth, right?
Yeah. Not a treikfa, a mesukenes. Right, it has a fever, whatever. So if it has a simon of wiggling its ear, then it's good, the shechita. So Shmuel is asking the Talmud of Rav, who needs so much chayis? Even less than that should be good.
Like what's less?
Shmuel says, Kol anything that is not natural that should happen by the death of the animal, and it does it. That's enough to be considered.
As long as you shake something.
If it moves even a lighter, a much wiggling the ear is a strong thing. It's very. It seems like it's.
Wags his tail.
Wags his tail is lighter. It says the least is by a bird. Just fluttering its wings is even lighter. Anyway, that's what we had yesterday. In fact, one of mine knew the Misa. So, what are the natural things that Misa causes the animal to do that looks like it's a chayis, but it's just really dying, and it's just a natural thing that the animal does. It's not a good shechita. Ravana said, Shmuel had explained me, if the hand was bent, and the animal spread its hand. Dava Shamisa said that's normal, easy. That's normal for the animal to do, to spread its hand. It's like when you're picking up weights, right? So he says the letting down, the stretching down the weights is not as hard as making the the curl? The curl. So making the curl, so going from here and making the curl is a bigger chayis. He says if the animal was at a curl and it just spread out its hand, that's the end. That's the natural thing that's done even after it's dead. Misa, I said, so something that Misa causes us to do. But but if the hand was like this and it makes a curl, no, that's a very that's not something that the Misa causes, and that's chayis. And if he shasted, then it's good. But you don't need the ganze heavens soll sich drehen left and right. You don't need it. Sagen die Mother, my kamashmal. What does he come?
That ear is what? But they wiggle the ear.
They wiggle it. Yeah. You see it a lot of times. It gives sure if it gets away the flies or whatever. Sagen die Mother, my kamashmal. What is Shmuel coming to teach us? We already learned about this. That anything that is sha'isa misa is not considered as a movement of chayas. Where do we see that? Behema daka, the Mishnah said the Fedish. A behema daka is like a shepsele, a goat. A behema gas is a ox, a ayil. Anyway, behema daka shapashta yad v'leich zira. A behema daka, this is the Mishnah says. A behema daka that stretched out his hand, but he didn't bring it back. Psula. We say if he shechted such an animal, it's possible because it was dead. Sheina lahitzos nefesh. This that it went like this, it stretched out his hand. It's a natural simon for death. Ha herzira sheina. But if it brought it back, whatever, so then we say it's kosher. But that's what we said it in the Mishnah. What's called Shmuel and Zlatzel? Yeah. So what does Shmuel come to teach us?
Was Shmuel a doctor? One of these guys?
Shmuel was a doctor. Yes, he was. He was.
Veterinarian also?
He had. He's the one that also saw the sefer with all the refuahs, but they hid it. Whatever. So if you're going to learn from the Mishnah, I would say Haba Amina Dafke the Chayfa Fosh the Other Kaifa. I'm going to say he has to start from this position. He has to
go back.
The kaifa, first it was bent, then he opened up, and then he bent again. But avo pshuta ukafafata. But if it was just stretched out and then he brought it back, loy, I would say that's not good enough. It has to go out and back. It has to be a full curl, down and up. Kamash Malani comes to no. If it was plashta and he was kaifef, that's just the curl itself is good enough. Meis, in fact, Rabbi Yossi says, goyim to mu b'shas shchita ein zeh pirchus. It's not a sign of chayis. And we just said before, goya harei zeh pirchus. We said it is. And weiter, Rabbi Yossi, amen. Rabbi Yossi says, yeah, Mishmei Shai Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Elazar said the name of Rabbi Yossi, from the name of Rabbi Yossi, even if it took, he let it out. He let out some dung, or the Vekiskis of his nava, or it wagged its tail. Ein zeh pirchus is not a pirchus. And here we said if he lets out dung,
so what is it?
It's not life. And if he shuts it, it's not. It's like shechting a dead animal. Kasha goya, kasha reya. Before we said goya is a sign of life, rei is a sign of life, and now we're saying it's just the opposite. Goya and rei is not a sign of life. And if you want to goya like kasha. The mooing is not a kasha. So if you hear the coil of the moo with a thick coil, so then you know he's alive. It's coming with keiches. They hear that we said that mooing is a sign of death. The Amikala is very thin. He was already dead, half dead. Reya is no kasha either. Kam b'sheiseses. Here's give him yeah. That's it. No, there it's talking about sheiseses. It just dropped it. When it gets killed, it's so out of death, just drops everything.
He got nervous.
Well, got nervous. Kam b'masrezes that it gave a shais. Then we say that's life. You know the story. They say, "Einat Yizok, ich bin kimat v'Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel." By Yonasan ben Uziel, when a bird flew over his head, it burned. By me, the bird hat sich getreißelt und gekackt auf mir. Ich bin kimat. Ich bin gemacht am Treißeln, soll kacken auf mir.
That's the struggle.
Yeah. Anyway, so here it's a bit of Masazas. Here is talking about the Yamashbritz. Anyway, I'm going to have Chizda. You know the Maisim, the Goylam. These are 9 tatas guess of the Goylam. Well, I guess from the Maral. The Maral, gemacht, da was kennen schön. 9 tatas gemacht, da Goylam was kennen. Aber ich habe Chizda.
It's bigger for a
Yeah. Aber ich habe Chizda hat gesagt, Pirchus she'amru. The Pirchus. The chayas of it's called a spasm. Pirchus means the shokulin. The spasm that we said, when did it happen? That we say it's still alive. B'seif shchita, he says it had to be at the end of shchita. In fact, you want to buy b'seif shchita? What does it mean at the end of shchita?
How long does shchita take?
Oh, you shecht. You could be shechting the where? By big behemoth? It takes a minute and a half. You go all the way up. It's a long chalaf. Look at it. It doesn't go in seconds. It's a while. I went with my father as a kid. I don't remember how long, but it takes a big behemoth with a challah.
Back and forth.
It's back and forth.
The cut is fast until they get the behemoth ready.
Yeah, but you have to cut. Maybe sometimes it's not once. You have to go through. It comes in a box. The neck.
Just the neck goes out.
Just the neck comes out. That I remember. A machine comes, hanging
the Torah is over.
on chains, and then the machine makes it lie down, and only the neck part is sticking out. Anyway, so he says over here, this chayis is b'sev shchita. My b'sev shchita. What does it mean b'sev shchita? He says b'sev shchita. In the middle of the shchita, that's when you saw movement of life, the spasm. If you only saw a sign of movement at the beginning of the shchita, right when he started, he says, no, that's not a sign of chayis. That when you shechted it alive. It could be you shechted it when it was already dead. That's why he says the movement you have to see in the middle of the shchita. From where do I know this to say that so shchita means the middle? How do I know it means the middle? Not at the beginning, not at the end. So he said that now we learned in our Mishnah. Behema daka, sheposhta yadav leichzira psula. It says a behema daka that stretched out his hand, but didn't bring it back. It's possible. Amos, when did that happen? Ilema b'sei shchita. If you're going to say it's at the end of shchita, you saw the animal pull out his hand. If the mamish gishachlin says, why should it be possible? Kol heichi teichel seisel. You have to have the animal continue living after it was shocked. We have to see chayas. I shouldn't gestorben. We have to see so much. Yeah, to continue to have such movements. Rather, what's the pshat? Why do we say possible? He's talking about that the siman was pashta without chazara, mitten shchita, while it could still happen. But if the shchita, pashta should be good enough. Amalei Rabbi said, no, le'elam b'sev shchita. The Mishnah is talking about at the end of the shchita.
She has to do the exercise.
He has to do the exercise. And if it's only sticking out his hand, I'll say it's no good. It moved its hand after the shchita. Shani Emer, Kol Sheina, he said came to save shchita. If it doesn't move back its hands, even after the shchita, if it only stuck out his hand, that's it. That's the siman that it was already dead. It's dying.
So the shchita
was not good. Rav Nachman takes the extreme. Just the beginning of the shchita shen genug. If there was a similar movement of that's shackled, there was a spasm. Even though it was only at the beginning of the shchita, that's enough. How does he know? From where do I know to say that even at the beginning of the shechita, it's good enough to help till the end of the shechita to say that he shechted a live animal? Says the Gemara the Tanan that we learned in the Mishnah. Rab Shimon had said, "Ha'ashoyichet ba'layla." Somebody who shechts by night, ulamacha, and the next morning, umatzik salam alayim dam. He found that the walls were filled with dam. So when we learned in the Mishnah,
they had no dam. When the shech at the beginning, there was no dam.
Before the shechting, there was no dam. And then he gave a shech. So he says the walls. It doesn't mean the walls of the Beis HaShchita. There's a shita that says it goes in the walls of the shchita. But the Mishnah says the walls means in the place where it was cut, on the two sides, right next to the cut, the blood, the spitz of the two sides of the animal.
Blood always spritzes when you do the shchita.
Yeah. Starts off a drop and then it gives a spritz right away. Says Gemara, "Umatzak salam alayim dam." We had that in Rashi described.
Did you see it before? Did you see it?
You want to see if you saw where your father was shechting?
Oh, I don't remember. Anyway, so he says, "Ulamachal matzak salam alayim dam." Sheiretz kosher. Why? Shezinka. Because there was a spritz from dam. Yeah, it's like Rabbi Elazar. That the Mishnah said that zinka is good. It's talking about the walls that's around the cut of the animal was filled with blood. Now, if you say this happened, that even if it happens on the tchila at the beginning of shchita, it's a sign of life, and that's good enough. You don't need later on some money. So it's good because he didn't see it at night. He doesn't know when it happened. So your shaila is if you say it doesn't matter when it happened, it could even happen at the beginning of shchita, and it's good enough. It's a good enough siman for even if it's only at the beginning of the shchita. So we have no problem. But if you say the only time that the shchita will help is when the siman happened at the end of shchita. So says Gemara, how do I know it happened at the end of shchita? Leichish dilma betchila shchita zinka. Maybe at the beginning of the shchita it started to spritz. You don't know. It was by night when he shechted it.
Okay.
So if you say, even at the beginning of Shechita, it's going to help,
Then it's good. So what's the difference?
then it's good. But if you say you need a dafka b'sei Shechita,
How do you know?
so how could the Mishnah say it's good? If it happened by night and in the morning he saw it all
The blood
sprayed
on
up
the
with
wall.
blood, maybe the spray of the blood happened at the beginning of the Shechita, and he holds it's not good at the beginning of the Shechita, it has to happen at the end. Is that raya? So from this that the Mishnah is
It has to be at the
and
show
yeah.
That
So
shows
from-
that's a good shechita. That's
So
why-
from this that the Mishnah said stam, because we don't know when it happened. He shechted at night, and we don't know when it started to spritz. And in the morning he saw it's filled with blood. It could have been at the beginning of the shechita. It could have been at the end of the shechita. From the mere fact that the Mishnah says it's good, it must be that the beginning of the shechita is good. Because if not, I could say, how do I know? Now the walls of the shechita, if we would learn the pshat, that the walls of the place of the shlachtos became full of blood, so from the place where it spritzed on the wall, you can know when it happened. If it spritz on the top of the wall, you know it happened at the beginning of the shechita. If it was the middle of the wall, it's a little middle, and because it's shvach, you can see on the wall. But around the neck, you can't see
More
nothing.
intention is that at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning. So you would see the top part of the wall could tell you it was the beginning of the shechita. But we're not talking, we learned pshat in the Mishnah that's around the neck. So if it's around the neck, how do you know when did it get spray around the neck? It was by night. So if you bought it with the Moshani Zinuk, the Zinuk, the other, maybe only Zinuk will help at the beginning of the Shechita because it's a strong simon, he says. He holds it's a strong simon. So that's why. But by the movement of the feet, I say, no, the beginning of the Shechita is not good enough. Only at the end of the Shechita, only if it moves at the end of the Shechita, then it's a sign of life. Sagt die Gemara, how could you say, me adif? Is Zinuk better than the movements of the legs? But now we learned in the Mishnah, Daya. Daya means she's genug. First came Rabbi Gamil who says, the simin of Pirchus is that side the front legs and side the back legs are moving. Came Rabbi Lezer and he says, Daya Zinuk. When it says Daya Genug means it doesn't have to be as strong. As Ram Gamil says, you need both feet smacking all over. So it comes out Zinuk is leichter. So if Zinuk is a lighter simen of Chayis, you said it helps at the beginning of the Shechita. So for sure, when it moves its legs, which is a stronger simen of Chayis, for sure, at the beginning of Shechita should be good. So how could you say only Zinuk is different? We want to say only Zinuk will help at the top of the Shechita, at the beginning of the Shechita, because it's a strong simen. But the moving of the legs, not. How could you say that? Look in the Mishnah. The Mishnah starts off in Ram Gamil. Pichus is bold, all the feet is moving. And then Rabbi Lezer came and said, no, Daya Zinuk. Zinuk is enough, the spraying of the blood. Says Gemara, after the Gemara, I say, Kalman Ram Gamil, you're right. It's lighter than the sheet of Ram Gamil who says you need all 4 feet to move around. But it's better, it's stronger than the Rabbanan because the Rabbanan say, either the back feet could be moving, or either the front feet, or the wag of the tail. That's enough.
Not everything.
You don't need everything. So that you can't say. Because Sama Bachikoy said, actually, Ba Abu Abuvram. His name was Ba Abuvram. Ba usually means the son. But here it doesn't mean the son. Ba Abuvram means, that's his name. The father, Ba Abuvram, asked, the Ba Abuvram, that's easier to learn. We don't learn Ba Abuvram. We have a problem with Ba Abuvram. Abuvram means the son of Abuvram. But we're saying, no, Ba Abuvram was his name.
That's the whole name.
Yeah, but I don't know. No.
Binu.
Yeah, Binu. Very good. That's right. It's a mamish example. Abuvram. Others say it wasn't the father. Others say it was the brother of Ba Abuvram. He asked like this. You're saying according to the Rabbanan, so who say you only have to move either the front legs or the back legs or the tail to wag, that's enough of a siman. So you're going to say Zinuk is better? How could you say that? But now we learned in the Mishnah, Ad shetefachas oy beyad oy beregel. Rabbi Gamil is coming to say only until it'll move its legs, meaning it's not enough Zinuk. It's only till it'll move its front legs or its back legs. It means that that's stronger. Ad. Rabbanan Ahev Kaima. Who's the Rabbanan arguing on? If he's arguing Rabbi Gamil,
The way he says.
so if he's arguing Rabbi Gamil, he's for sure being lenient. So why is he saying ad?
What's Rabbi Gamliel?
Rabbi Gamliel says all four, the hands meaning the front legs and the back legs have to all move together. And the Rabbanan say no, either one. So why would you say ad? It should have said, the Rabbanan say, Kiva shepirchasami bayalei. So once already moved any of the legs, it's good enough.
Anything.
Not ad. Ad means no till. You need at least this. It sounds like it's more chama. Rather, he's arguing on Rebbe Lezer. And if Zinuch is better than Pirchus, my ad. If Zinuch is stronger,
The blood.
spraying the blood, he should have said Kima Shepirchasa. Why are you saying Ad Shepirchasa? Is a raya that the movements of the feet is stronger. So we have an answer. If Zinuk helps the beginning of the Shechita, that's a good siman, then for sure the movements of the feet is going to be a good enough siman of Chayis for the beginning of Shechita. Rava says, Pirches Sha'amru is Mesev Shechita. Rava says it's dafke at the end of Shechita. How do we know that the Pirches has to be at the end of Shechita? The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. It says, Shoy Oy Kesef. What's over there? It's been against our carbon. It says you should bring Shoy Kesef by Eid. Ki Yavalid. It'll be 7 days with the mother. You're not to look Hashem. From the 8th day, then you can be Makav as a come to Hashem. So what's the extra words of the Ois coming to exclude? Oy Kesef, the extra word Oy, Prat L'Kalayim, is coming to exclude that if a tayish, a sig, a goat that lives with a kivsa and has a baby, that you cannot, you can bring as a carbon. Oy eis, what's the oy by eis coming to tell you? Prat lenidma, that if from a tayish for eis there was a child born and it looks mamish like a kevis, it looks only like a kevis, still it's not going to be good. Ki yivalei, what is ki yivalei coming to prat le yitzadefim? That if Yitzhak is a cesarean, that they open the stomach, it doesn't give birth naturally. That's not going to be good for a cum. Shivas Yomim, what does Shivas Yomim come to tell you? Pratlech Mechus Hazman, that he didn't have all 7 days Tachas Imai. So, I'm sorry, Pratlech Mechus Yomim, meaning that he didn't have all 7 days. It was only missing the 7 days. Tachas Imai, Pratlech Yosem. Tachas Imai is coming to exclude a Yosem that wasn't with the mother. Meaning that the baby gave birth, and there was no mother when it gave birth.
The mother died?
The mother died, yeah. Sag die Mother, Hi Yosem. Yosem, what is the Meister, the Hund Yosem. Sag die Mother, Hi Yosem. What's this Yosem?
Have Rahmanas on this animal?
I told you the story. You know, the Hund that kissed the wolf in the wrong place. Kissed it in the behind, and he told him, I'll teach you. Anyway, well, it's not for now. How Yosem sessions is that it's yeah. This Yosem that was in this might was excluded from being a karma. What is the case talking about? If you're going to say that the mother first gave birth and gave birth to a child and then the baby died, so says the Gemara, so then it should be not considered as a Yosem. Because you need the mother always to live, that it shouldn't be called a Yosem.
The mother was alive when the baby was
The mother was alive, that's enough. What do you don't have to have it living forever. Ella, it's talking about the base of a Hada Yelidite. It's talking about the mother died and then gave birth. Says the Gemara, Miki Yevalinafke. That's already considered as cesarean. It didn't if the mother died,
they had to take out the baby.
They have to take out the baby. That's like a cesarean. It's not giving birth the normal way.
So
So I don't need the pasuk to tell us that such a yosem is no good. Has nothing to do with yosem shaft. It's a cesarean. It's not a natural way of birth. It says you want to pshita zet pidish lemisa zet pidish lechaim. It means in the same moment that the baby came out, that same moment the mother died. So the baby never had a chance with the mother. Says
how you call it?
a Yosem. That's the case of Yosem. Says if then it's understood. If you say the pasuk has come to teach us that the mother has to live at the end of the Leda and a drop after,
How long does she have to live?
a seconds after, right after the Leda. So in order that it should be called a Yosem, I know the Yitzchak Chalamiyut. That's why I needed a pasuk to exclude that Yosim you cannot use as a carbon. But if you're going to say, in order that it shouldn't be in order that it shouldn't be a Yosim, or or you could call it a Yosim even before, again, you don't need that it should be alive till the end, that it should be a Yasam. So b'seif Leida, even if it dies at the end of Leida, it's not in B'chlal Yasam. The pasuk is saying only a Yasam that the mother died in the middle of the Leida. So Lamalei, why do I need Mikiyavalid? If you're going to say it's the Yasam shaft, is even in middle of the Leida, in the middle of the Leida, the mother died. So he says that. So it's not mitzad Yosim that you're not allowed to be makriv. It's because of Mikiya Valid, because it's like a cesarean. It's not a natural birth. Mikiya Valid nafka.
If you're saying a field that the mother was alive, is it good?
No, so you have to say the mother was alive till the end, right? In order to say so that it's not a cesarean,
so it's a Yosem.
And that's why I need a special pasuk for
to say that
a Yosem cannot be sacrificed on the mizbeach.
It's kolshkein if the mother died before.
But if the mother died before, you don't need. It's not because of Yosem shaft. It's because of cesarean.
So you don't need a pasuk.
So right, you don't need a pasuk because we learn out from cesarean is not permitted to go on the mizbeach from kiyavali. So he says, so just like here, you say, when does it take place? Only at the end of the birth. So too, by shechita, the simon of life has to be at the end of the shechita. Amarav said, the halacha is talking like this, but Isa, it has to be at the end. A behema that's just stretched out his hand, but didn't do back the curl, it's possible. What these words said? The yod, with a hand. Aval berego, bein pashta v'lei chafafa, bein chafafa v'lei pashta ksheda. But the foot, whether it's just one, because the foot normally the back legs don't move around. So even if it just stretched this leg or bent its leg, that's enough of a semen, and it's kosher. The semen of life, and it's kosher. What these words said? Bedaka by abehemadaka, aval begasa. By a gasa, which an ox doesn't move anything. So if there's any movement after the shechita, bein biyad, bein beregel, bein pashta v'lei chafva, bein chafva v'lei pashta ksheda, the etzem movement by behema gasa is enough. You don't need it to do back a curl backwards.
How come it's easy above?
Why? Because a behema doesn't release its legs at all for misa. It's not where when it dies, it doesn't move its legs. So either by Megasa.
By ox, mister.
By ox, but Himataka does. So you about Eif, I feel like Elagapa, even though it just fluttered its wings, like Kishkes and it only wagged its tail, that's considered as life by a bird. What does he come to teach us by a bird? Cool. I mean, what does he come to teach us? This whole all these halachs we already learned befedish in our Mishnah. Behema daka, it says shepashta yada v'lei azira psula. By behema daka, if it was only pashat yada and they didn't bring it back, it's psula. She'ena ela heitzas nefesh, because it's heitzas nefesh. But which one? It says only shepashta yada. It didn't say regel, only the front legs. Yada in, but regel by regel you don't need it to bring it back. So you already know by that regel. By the back legs, it doesn't have to bend its legs to show that it's similar. By a daka, we can be medayik for now Mishnah. And then he says daka in that it says behema daka, so it's only daka. But behema gasa loy, gasa doesn't make any movement by a gasa is a siman of chayis. Says Gemara, you're right. Those two I can learn out from our Mishnah. Those halachas. But oif it's about a bird, our Mishnah never spoke about a bird. To tell us that even when it just flutters its wings or it moves its tail, is enough of chayes. The leitnan, this we did not learn in our Mishnah. Zog the Mishnah, Amar Abelazar, Leivit Gecham Shchitas Eksheda. The Mishnah, Hasheichet Leivit Gecham. I'm sorry. Zok the Mishnah Yisol. Yisol that's shoichet loy v'chacham. Yisol that shachs for a goy.
Well, why is it kosher?
He's shachting it for the goy.
Oh, this is
So
Why was he
he's
kosher?
allowed. We learned before. We learned out
Yeah.
from a pasuk. I forgot the pasuk. Maybe I have it over here. Let's see. 14.
Yeah, but, usually for me, the Zohar, don't you? Because
Oh, so that we have to know. So that's what he's talking about. Somebody who shachs a behemoth for a goy, shchitasik shel is shchitas kosher. Rabbi Elazar Pesach. Rabbi Elazar says because tam a goy is mechaben for the Avodah Zarah.
that's a messy, eh?
And he has with his mashava to passel it.
But he says,
But even though he's not the one that's doing the Aveda, the Yid is doing the Aveda.
Right.
Who's having the bad kavanah? The Balabas. The guy who's not doing any Aveda. So Rabbi Elazar doesn't matter. Rabbi Elazar says even though the Baal is doing the Aveda, that's enough. He says the Baal is doing the Aveda, that's enough to be passel. Even though it was either b'shutvis that he only owns the diaphragm, by the liver, or that was the upmach. He only has the chatzah kaved, the diaphragm. Nevertheless, Rabbi Elazar says,
Shabbat liver for Shabbos.
okay, yeah, but that's all he has. The rest of the behemoth belongs to the Yid. Still, even though it was only the chatzah covered, it passed psula. If it went for the goy, a part of the behemoth, even such a small part, it's going to pass the common. Why? Because the stam of a machshava, no machshava of a goy, when there's a behemoth being slaughtered, he has a money for Avodah
he
Zarah.
eat a behemoth stamazai. A guy doesn't want to eat a behemoth stamazai.
Yeah, but the Shem Avodah Zarah he has in
It makes a
mind.
bracha for that. It makes
Ich
a
weiß. Amar Rabbi Yossi, a third opinion. Kal v'chema advarim. He says we can learn with a kal v'chema that the machshava of a goy or machshava of owners versus the one that's doing the aveda, the machshava of the Bible have no power. They cannot pass la carbon. Ma, and he makes a kal v'chema. Ma b'makasham machshava peiseles. Ma doch in the Beis Hamikdash where the machshava is possible mukudashim. That you have to have the machshava for asham. If you have in mind for a different carbon, it's possible. So you know or if you have in mind to eat it longer than a lot of time, it's possible. We know when it comes to by the karbanes, it goes after the one that's oived, the one that's doing the aveda, the one that's actually doing the job, not the balabais. But by chulin, where there is no machshava that passes, it's chulin. I mean, eat it after a lot of time, the meat. You can eat it any time. There's no by chulin. There's no machshava spsul.
There's no time.
No, so if there's no machshava spsul, it should go all after the sheikhet. And if the sheikhet shechted it, it should be kosher, because it's totally in the sheikhet when the kavanah is nageya. So even with the kavanah, as how much more said, with the kavanah is not nageya, for sure it should be totally in the sheikhet. So you want 100 tanoi. These tanoim, the Tanakama and Rabbi Elazar that we brought in the Mishnah, Islu, the Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yossi, they both hold of the Shita of Rabbi Yossi. The Tanyan that we learned in the Braisa, Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yossi, Shamaiti, I heard from my rabbis, Shahabe'olim mefaglim, that even the owners of the carbon, even though they're not doing the Aveda, they could make pigul out of the carbon. Lamashal, the carbon can only be eaten for one day, one night, and he has in mind, I'm saving it for next week's bar mitzvah. That's pigul, right? So even if it wasn't the sheikhet who did it, or the kohen who was doing the Aveda, the balabas aleinu had that machshava, it passes it. Miu Tanakama Sava Shameina de Choshev in. Dafke, if you heard from the goy befedish saying that he has in mind Shagol Hashem Avodah Zarah, only then will it passel the carbon. Eloi, but if you didn't hear befedish the goy saying that it's l'shem Avodah Yechavim loy, then the behemoth is not possible. Stam Achshav Seiv Yechavim Avodah Yechavim loy Aminyan. We don't say stam, even though we didn't even hear him say anything. Oh, you for sure had in mind for Avodah Yechavim. We don't say that according to the Tanakama. But Lezer Sova, Afal Gavli Shaminei, the Choshiv, even though we didn't hear clearly the fetish that he's saying it's l'shem Avodah Zarah, Stam Achshav Seiv Yechavim Avodah. We say the stam machshava of a goy is for sure for Avodah Zarah. Also, Rabbi Yossi Lemeima, And Rabbi Yossi came and said, even though we heard the Fetish the guy say, I'm doing it for this Getchke, for this Avodah Zarah. We don't say a carbon becomes puzzle through the machshav of the Bailam while the one, if he's not the one that's doing the Avodah. If one person is doing the Avodah and the Balabayis has the machshava, that machshava cannot puzzle it, according to Rabbi Yossi. Ikadamri, others say, they're arguing even in a case where they heard the Fetish, the goy say that it's going for Avodah Zarah. Tanakama Sava Kiyaminem Zem Chashva Oved. This that we said that the Machshavas Abaylam does puzzle it. Hanimili Bifnim. That's only B'negei Pigul, B'negei to a carbon, which has Machshavas Pigul. So then the Balabayis, his Machshavah could puzzle the carbon. Ava Bachutz, but B'negei to Machshavas of a goy. Or Balabayis by Behema of Chullin, which is Yishach Mechutz Lazara Loi. We don't say that the Machshavah of the Bailim helps the puzzle when another person is doing the Shechita. Mepnei, why? Shechutz, the din of Machshavas Chullin, Mipnim, to learn out from the Machshavas of a carbon, Lo Yafinan. We don't learn out Machshavas of the Yicham of Bailim should help to puzzle the Behema when another person is shechting from Pnim. We don't learn out Chutz from Pnim. Las Rabbi Lezer Lebema, and Rabbi Lezer came and said, Yalfinan Chutz Mipnim. We do learn out Chutz Mipnim. Punkt, just like by Pnim. The Balabayis, even though the Balabayis had the Machshavas Pigul and the Sheikha didn't, it's going to puzzle the carbon. So too by Chutz. Rabbi Yossi said, no, even by Pnim. If one has the Machshavah, the Balabayis, and the one is doing the Aveda, and the one who had the Machshavas Sul was the Aveda, he says, La Yaminan, it's not going to puzzle the carbon.
The Kohen, right?
The Kohen, yes, who's doing the Aveda, but who had the Machshavas Sul?
He makes
The Balabayis had the Machshavas Sul. Rabbi Yossi says it's not going to puzzle the carbon, even by Pnim.